What's up, everybody? Bilbo here. I'm starting a 4-part series here. I wanted to show you guys how to get as many zombies and skeletons as you could possibly kill for all of their drops, all of their experience, or just as a decoration in your base. The 4-part series is going to start out with part 1 being specifically just how to kill the zombies and skeletons. We're not going to collect the XP. I'm going to show you how to build a farm. We're going to talk about the dimensions, the kill zones, different ways you can kill them, and that's going to be most of it for the first one. The second video is going to show you how to get the experience from the mobs. It's going to show you the drop distances or the crushers, just different ways of what we call softening mobs rather than killing them completely, and that lets you hit them for the last little bit. That's what I have here. This is a double mob grinder here. I've got a skeleton and zombie farm here, so that each one takes one. Since it's in pocket edition, the gravity's a little bit weird, so sometimes it takes 2 hits for some of the mobs, but it's usually it's supposed to bring them all the way down to 1 hit, so I can just sit here and bank all their experience as I am right here. The third video is going to show you a couple of things like how to separate out the baby zombies with this this kind of machine I have over here. You see this little hole right here? If a baby zombie comes through here, I don't see one coming through right now, so you may see it by the end of the video, but if a baby zombie comes in through here, I can come over here and kill them, because sometimes the baby zombies, if they make it all the way through, either they won't make it all the way through and they'll break the system over here and they'll slow all the mobs down, or they'll get all the way through the system depending on what kind you have, and they can make it through this little short hole here where the rest of them can't make it through, and they'll come and attack you. Another thing we're going to talk about is the how to do redstone lighting in the third video. I've got this little switch over here. If I hit this switch here, you see that light turns off, and up there's some lights on up inside the chambers. You can see them right about there. Behind that glass I almost broke. It lights up, and now the mobs are not going to keep spawning. That way you can turn it off, and it doesn't end up crashing your server. If I let them just keep building up here for a while, eventually my server's going to crash, and I'm on a realm right now with a bunch of other people, so they're not going to be too happy if that happens. And the last video, the fourth video, is going to talk about how to put multiple spawners near each other. How I have in this video, I've got 2 different spawners in the same location. I can stand in a certain area and both spawners are active at the same time, so I'm making twice as many mobs and getting twice as much experience. And how to find out whether or not they're even close enough to each other, and what kind of spawners you can put in within range of each other. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my creative world really quick, and we're going to talk about how to build them all. I'm going to show you all the dimensions and everything. Alright, everybody, we are here in my tester world. This is my redstone and farm tester world here. So I'm going to go ahead and punch through these blocks, get inside. This is what the inside, this is a spawner right here. This is what you're going to want to find in the wild. You can usually find them in caves or inside different kinds of dungeons and stuff like that. You'll find them. The 2 that we're looking for here, I've already made a video on spiders. I'm eventually going to make a video on slimes. They don't come in spawners like this, but they have spawner areas. So the 2 that you're looking for in this particular kind of farm, you're looking for zombies or skeletons. This farm is going to work the same for zombies and skeletons. The only difference is going to be the drops you're going to get. And the other main difference is zombies sometimes spawn as babies, while skeletons don't. So you're going to find one of these spawners in nature, and you're going to build what I'm going to show you here in a second around it to either collect. In this video, we're just going to show you how to collect their drops. The main reason you want to collect the drops from zombies and skeletons. Zombies, they're going to drop rotten flesh. Rotten flesh could be traded to villagers. I'll show you, there's a bunch on the ground underneath me right now where I've been dropping these guys. As they drop the rotten flesh, you can either trade them to villagers, or you can use them to catch wolves and turn them into dogs. There's a few other things you can do with them. That's most of it. You can eat it, and it poisons you, but it also helps you cure hunger for a short time, so you can gain your health back. So let's go ahead and get right down to it. The first thing we're going to talk about is the dimensions. There's two different things to take into account here. We want to talk about the spawning dimensions, and we also want to talk about the dimensions that you're going to build the room into. The less important part is the spawning dimensions. It's for both skeletons and zombies, they spawn near the spawner within a range of 8 by 8 by 3. That's 8 wide, 8 long, and 3 high. That means that they're going to spawn 1 block above and 1 block below this spawner here. And they're going to spawn, I think that's 3.5 blocks, or yeah, 3.5 blocks on each side to make 8. But the room we're going to build is going to be let's see, the inside of it is going to be 9 by 9 by 7. 9 by 9 by 7. So the way you're going to get that dimension, you've got 4 blocks on each side. Each one of these colored blocks is just to show you it's to help with counting. This is going to be how wide the room is going to be in all directions. So it's 4 blocks on each side empty, and the iron blocks on each end are to display the walls. That's where the walls are going to go. So we're going to move over here, and this is going to show you the height. You're going to keep 3 blocks open on each side of the spawner, on the top and on the bottom. You're going to have 3 blocks open, and again, the iron blocks in this case are to show you the ceiling and the floor. An important thing to notice here on the floor is that the block immediately beneath it is actually empty. There's no block in the floor immediately beneath it. There's a hole in the floor. So we're going to move on over here. This is what the entire room is going to look like without the walls. This is what it looks like without the walls. I took the walls out just for displaying purposes, so I can show you guys what's going to happen when I'm going to go ahead and punch these blocks out on the floor here. So you got 1, 2, 3 blocks below it, and then underneath that one is a hole in the floor. So the purpose of the hole in the floor, let me go ahead and grab a bucket of water really quick. And anyway, the purpose of the hole in the floor is that as the water pushes them all from the corners towards the center of the room, they're going to fall through that hole, and that's what's going to help us guide the zombies or the skeletons to where we want them to fall through. You can make the room, I use iron blocks and concrete, different colored concrete. You can make it out of any solid opaque blocks that you want, as long as it's not a transparent block. That's going to give you the highest spawn rates. You want it to be opaque blocks. So the floor right here, this is the reason we did the floor with the dimensions we did. As you can see, the water doesn't fall through that hole in the center. It meets up right at the very center, and what we did here was we just placed in each corner, we placed a bucket of water right in the very corner. And it all pours into the center. Now, as zombies spawn on this guy right here, they should, I don't know if they're going to, there's too much light in here right now, but as they spawn in here, they're going to get pushed through to the very center. You also, when you build this, you want to leave the 3 blocks on top of it. You want to actually leave those blocks there. The reason you're doing that, the reason you're leaving those 3 blocks there is otherwise, if they're not there, sometimes the zombies will spawn, or the skeletons will spawn on top of the spawner. They're not doing, oh, you know what, let me get a little lower and try it this way. They're going to spawn on top of the spawner every once in a while. And it's not doing it right now because I have stuff in the way, but when they do spawn on top of the spawner, they're not going to want to fall off. They're going to stand there. Since this is more than a 2-block drop, mobs usually won't fall more than 2 blocks on purpose, and they'll just sit up there, and that's going to slow your spawn rates down. The way the spawner works is every so many ticks, it's going to attempt to spawn 4 mobs near it, 4 zombies or skeletons, depending on what kind of spawner it is. If there is 1 within the range, within that 8 by 8 by 3 block range that we talked about earlier, then they'll only spawn 3. If there's 2 of them, they'll only spawn 2. So it subtracts 1 for every mob already in the area. So the goal here is to get them out of that area as quickly as possible, which is also why we have them drop down 3 blocks before it continues, before they fall down through the center block. It's you want them to drop down a couple blocks so they're out of that spawn range. So if you have one sitting on top of there, it's only going to spawn 3 at a time. So you want to keep the rates as fast as you can to get the most out of your farm. So the next thing we're going to want to talk about is the different methods of killing. The first one is dropping them. So I'm going to go ahead and spawn a zombie here and show you what happens if when this guy gets pushed forward. And right now I'm acting as the water. He's going to fall in through this hole. He's going to fall all the way down to the bottom. And about probably 7 out of 10 times, he's going to take complete fall damage and he's going to die. Right here, right now, I have him exactly 22 blocks away from the ground. That's what that purple block is 22 blocks. So he's not going to die if I drop him here. That way, if you do want to build an experience farm, that's how far he needs to drop. So if he falls down on that purple block, he's going to survive. And you just saw that, actually. So I'm going to go ahead and go down to the bottom. I'm going to knock this purple block out now. We're going to push another zombie over. And you're going to see that this next one, now it's a 23 block drop. If you push the zombie down now, he's going to die as soon as he hits the ground. Like I said, 7 out of 10 times he'll die from this drop. Every once in a while they don't. Yeah, see? So just one block made the difference and he died there. So so that is the easiest thing to build, but this takes up a lot of space. So the only way you're going to be able to do this is if you find a spawner that is more than 23 blocks above bedrock. You want to find it more than that. You want to find it 24 or 25 blocks above bedrock because you want to be able to fit this down here. You're going to want to fit a hopper and a chest underneath it so that you can collect their items as I'm doing here. So 23 blocks above bedrock, you're going to drop him 23 blocks if you want to make sure he dies. If you want to make sure for positive he dies, drop him like 24 or 25 blocks because, again, this is Pocket Edition. We all know if we play Pocket Edition, we know that there's always weird stuff going on with Pocket Edition. There's always little glitches, and it doesn't work exactly the way that it's meant to a lot of the time. So I'm going to fill this room in, fill the walls back in, and you're going to see that the spawn rates are pretty quick in here. And they're going to immediately start spawning. I say immediately, but then they decided not to. There may already be too many zombies in the area. Nope, it just took a couple seconds. This guy spawned with an enchanted sword. There's a pretty good chance he's actually going to drop that when he dies. So you can get enchanted items from these guys, but they usually don't have a lot of life left on the item. It usually dies pretty quickly. So the last thing we need to talk about here is the other most common kind of killing chamber right here. So if you look up here, this room is exactly the same as the other one. It is just an empty room, 3 blocks below, 3 blocks above, and 4 blocks on either side. They're all going to fall down through that hole in the floor. So I'm going to get back down here. As they fall through the hole in the floor, they're going to come in right about here. I placed this water 7 blocks away because water will travel 7 blocks in the overworld. It'll travel 7 blocks before it does not drop off a ledge. So if I place a block right here, you'll see the water doesn't pour off onto this block. That's as far as it's going to travel. So the way I did that is each one of these blocks in the corner of the, not just the corner, but the edge of the room, I should say, you're going to place a bucket of water in each one of these spots. And that's going to make the mobs all travel in the same direction. They're going to travel all the way to the end of the room. The next bucket of water you're going to place is right here at the very end of another 7 block long area. You're going to place the bucket of water right where that guy's standing. If I can get it there with him there. And as it pours this way, they're all going to take damage from the magma blocks. Usually you would fill this wall all the way in. I just didn't for display purposes so I could get in there and do a little bit of work. But usually you're going to fill this wall all the way in just to be safe. They shouldn't jump over a 2-block wall anyway. And so as they're bouncing on the magma blocks that you have at the bottom here, they're going to keep taking damage. At the very end of this, you're going to have, instead of glass stopping them from continuing, you're going to use iron bars. The reason you're using iron bars instead of glass is that iron bars, let me throw one here so you can see, it only covers half of the hopper instead of all of the hopper. That way, as the items drop, if I used glass here, let me get that right back where it was before I let them through. There we go. If I was to put glass right there, which I can't do because he's in the way, but if I was to put glass there, this wouldn't collect the items anymore. So you put iron bars over top of it so that the items can drop in through the little hole there in between the edge of the hopper and the iron bars. This system is fairly safe from baby zombies, but they every once in a while will just collect there on the hopper and sit there for a while. The only way they end up dying usually is if the other zombies push him off of the hoppers or if they get caught behind another zombie. But they're going to sit there and they're going to keep taking damage, and eventually they're going to die. And same thing, you're going to collect all their items down here. Now again, neither of these systems that I've showed you have any give you any experience, because you're not killing the zombies yourself. They're just dying. So if you wanted to build something that just kind of looked cool in your base, you could decorate this, maybe hide the top and the ceiling of a base, and just have the killing chamber surrounded in iron bars killing them, so that it looks cool in your base and everybody that comes to your base will be impressed. It looks pretty neat. This one over here, this one, there's nothing really cool, anything about this one that looks cool, unless you just had the very bottom of it sitting in your base, so the zombies would keep falling. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Sometimes they won't die. Most of the zombies that fall through here are going to die. So if you want them to die from every drop it more than 23 blocks. Alright, so I'm going to switch back over to my survival world and show you a couple ways that I have used, I have used these guys inside my builds. Alright, we are back in my survival world. We're at the first spawner here. I've got 3 of them to show you. We'll go through them really quickly. So the first one, I just wanted to show you, this is the very first one we built in this world. It's a very simple one. We have the lighting inside there, so that if we flip this lever right here at the top of the ladder, the lights all shut off, and it's going to start spawning immediately. I'm sure you saw all those skeletons start dropping. And in a few more seconds, we'll get some more. So it's just going to keep chucking skeletons in there as long as this lever is flipped in the up position. So we're going to put it back down, and the lights turn on. Flip it back up, lights go back off. Alright, so now that it's off, we're going to run downstairs, and I'm going to show you how the farm works from the base, the killing chamber. With this farm, I have it dropping all of the zombies, all the skeletons, very similar to the one that I showed you in the creative world. It drops them immediately instead of moving them anywhere first using water or any other transportation system. This one is an XP farm though. As you can see, they're all collecting down here. If I dropped that hopper down one more block, it would be just an item farm. We'd be getting no XP from it. But if you see here, when I hit them just one time now, they die. So, and it should work with my fists too, most of the time. Every once in a while, one of them's going to take 2 hits, but that's just a pocket edition thing. So the problem that we have with this farm, well, let me show you first what's really cool about this farm. Let me get rid of this bone here. I don't want that on my person. So what's really cool about this farm, you see that light on the wall there? If I flip this switch, I've got a switch upstairs and a switch downstairs. If I hit that switch, that light turns off. Now the farm is deactivated. Now no mobs are going to spawn, no zombies are going to spawn. The lights upstairs are on. Now if I hit that, the light's going to turn back on, and now this is the negative part of the farm. They're not spawning right now, even though the light's on, because I am 22 blocks away from the spawner. You need to be at most 16 blocks away from the spawner for it to actually activate. So when I go up this ladder, now I'm within range. That guy lives there, by the way. So now that I'm within range, you see zombies start pouring down the chute immediately. We just got 3 of them. And here pretty soon we're going to get 3 or 4 more. And as long as I'm up here, they're going to spawn. So that's the problem with this farm, this first one we built. We have to stand here at the top of the ladder and let them all fall down to this little AFK spot. We usually AFK to for 5 to 10 minutes. Once we collect around 30 to 40 skeletons down there before it starts to cause too much server lag, we run down the ladder, come right over here, and we punch them all in the knees and collect all their experience and items. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next farm now, guys. And I'll show you how we improved on this one and what made the next one better than this. Alright, we are here at the location of the second farm. And the first thing you'll notice is our proximity to the main base here. We are right in the middle of everything. This is where most of our big builds are. Not all of them, but most of our big builds are right in this local area. Right there underneath that big... It doesn't look like it from here, but that big pixel art pickaxe there, that's our spawn point right underneath that. So it's pretty close to the spawn point, pretty close to where we spend most of our time. So all the new guys, as soon as they spawn in, they can immediately start going over collecting experience if they feel like it. So we come down these stairs here, and at the base of these stairs, you'll notice we have a switch in here as well. But the different thing about this one from the other farm is that you can actually see the spawner from where we are, where we're collecting the zombies at. So right now it's on. We're not getting any of the zombies spawning. So we're gonna go ahead and hit that switch right there, and all of the lights turn off, and zombies immediately start spawning. The next thing that makes this farm better than the other one is that since we are standing right here, we are within 16 meters of that spawner. Not only does it look cool, but it also is going to keep it working at all times. So you see that zombie moving up right there? The way we did this, the way we fixed the problem from the last one, is we use what's called a water elevator. So what's going to happen is, and I'll show you this in a later video. I think this is coming in video 2 actually. All the zombies in there are getting pushed by the water down into another water stream, and they're getting pushed through this water stream over to a straight elevator, a chute straight up filled with water. When they get there, the zombies will naturally swim up, because that's what mobs do. Anytime they get put underwater, when their head is put underwater, they start swimming straight up to try and get their head above water so they don't drown. So they're going to swim straight up, and when they get to the top, there's more water that's going to push them over this way, and they're going to fall down here 22 blocks to this one. This is another experience farm rather than just just an item farm. So again, I haven't showed you guys how to build these yet, but this is coming in the next video. So if we stand down here and just punch these guys once or twice, depending on how much damage they took when they fall, they all should take enough damage where they only take one hit. But this is something that's unique to Pocket Edition, that 22 blocks doesn't do the same amount of damage to everybody. So we'll just sit down here and we collect the experience. And I love this farm. Not only does it look cooler than the other one, and it works better than the other one, and it's closer. It's got everything going for it. It also has a lot more area right now for me to decorate. I don't have farms and stuff down here. You know, it's so close to the base, I didn't have to put another base underground. This doesn't need anything. If I need any of the decoration items or survival items, I just run upstairs and go get them from the other base. So you can see why I like that one. We're going to move on to the third one now. It's actually really close to that one. We got pretty lucky with our main base. We have a whole bunch of spawners right here near it. It took us a very long time to find them all, but we've got them kind of all over the place. So we're going to run in here, and down underground in here, there is another farm. At the very far wall back there, you'll see it. You see the iron bars coming into view in the back right corner. You see some zombies taking damage over there. So we've got a spawner back here that this one is not going to give us any experience. It's going to kill the zombies automatically. This is just like the one that I showed you in that tutorial just a minute ago using the magma blocks. The main difference with this one from the one that I showed you in the tutorial is the magma blocks are in a slightly different location. It works in the same way, except for the one problem I have with this design versus the one that I had in there is these baby zombie guys hang out right here and they hide and they don't take any damage a lot of the time. They'll just chill out on the hopper. They can't get out to me. I'm safe from them, but I can't really reach in there and get them either. I can't get them through the bars. So yeah, I would go with the design that I showed you inside the previous few minutes of this video. But yeah, this is a pretty cool idea for a farm inside a base. You know, it's like a cage that sits here and kills zombies all day. Sometimes we'll get a bunch of them collecting here all at once. Another thing that we're going to do with this in a different video, this is not going to be part of the series, but it's something that I'm going to show you in another video. Later, I'm going to actually change all of this. I'm going to take some of these bars and turn it into a redstone door. And we're going to collect zombies in here without the magma blocks. There's not going to be anything killing them. I'll have a lava dispenser in the back in case I need to wipe them all out really quickly. But we're going to have a redstone door right here so I can hit the redstone, open the pistons up, and we're going to let a bunch of zombies flood out into this area. And we're going to fight them in a little zombie arena style battle. Collect 30 or 40 of them at a time and fight them all. I think that's going to be pretty fun. That's going to be a fun video. I'm going to let you guys actually watch me build that and change this into that. Right now, this just serves its purpose of collecting way too much rotten flesh for me, way more than I'm ever gonna need. But it's nice to have. It's good for trading with the villagers. If the villagers will give you, I believe they just give you emeralds for rotten flesh, but you can then trade those emeralds for enchanted books and enchanted items and diamonds, and I mean you can get anything. You can trade for some amazing items just starting with rotten flesh. So I like having a lot of it. Our chest isn't accessible right now because it's under the floor. That's because we have so many different farms collecting rotten flesh. If I ever need it, I'll just come and open the floor up, grab all the rotten flesh out, and close it back up. So that's the last farm that I wanted to show you guys. We've got the skeleton farm that had its first issue of being more than 16 blocks away from the spawner. We have the zombie farm that collects experience that I showed you after that one that uses the water elevator. That is going to be shown to you in the next video, as well as the lighting is going to be shown to you in I believe that's going to be in the third or fourth video. That's going to be in the third video. And there's not really much to show you in this video other than what I'm going to do in something outside the series later. So I thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate your views very much. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up, leave a like for me. It helps out a lot. If you have any questions or you'd like to start a discussion or you just like something in the video, leave a comment and I will always answer my comments. If you want to see more videos like this, or you want to make sure you don't miss the next episode in the series, which is going to be coming out either tomorrow or the next day, depending on how quickly I can work, then make sure to subscribe to me, and I'll make sure to keep posting videos, keep posting tutorials for you guys, and keeping you up with the Pocket Edition way of doing things, because everything's got to be done a little bit differently in Pocket Edition from PC. I'm sure you guys know that. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. You have a wonderful day.